Good morning, everyone. Today is Chof Bei Shevat, the Yahrzeit of the Rebbetzin. It's also the Yahrzeit of Fred Joseph's father, Yaakov Nachum ben Feivel. Yaakov Nachum ben Feivel Halevi. Oh, don't forget Halevi. 29th Yahrzeit of Fred's father. So we're going to learn in his merit and his memory. In today's lesson, becoming saddened by one's spiritual state of affairs out of nowhere is usually the ingenious technique of one's evil impulse to bring one to down. If you feel sad suddenly and you feel just like snap out of it because it's the Yetzer Hara. A healthy bitterness, which is not depression, is premeditated and requires a correct frame of mind. If somebody wants to say Krishma Lamita, or if he's in the middle of saying Shema, or if he's in the middle of Tachnun and he feels, regret about the sins that he did and he feels a momentary sadness, that's a different story. But if it's out of the blue, it's the Yetzer Hara's attempt to get you down. Don't allow that. The Alter Rebbe now goes on to discuss a different type of sadness caused by one's failing in spiritual matters. Cha'atzvos mimela dishmaya tzarech loshis eitzois v'nafshay lipater mimena. When there's sadness connected with heavenly matters, one must seek ways and means of freeing himself from it. That means when a person's serving Hashem, he has to do so with gladness and joy. And what you would say, okay, when am I serving Hashem? When I'm davening, when I'm learning, when I'm doing a particular mitzvah? No. In the moment the Yid wakes up, he is obligated to serve Hashem. 24/7, you're serving Hashem. No matter where you are, when you are, what you're doing, we're serving Hashem. That means we always have to be joyous. Ela afilu mishu bal ha'asakim v'derech eretz ein noifel loy etzev udaga v'meila v'milei d'shmaya b'shas asakav. Even somebody who's occupied in business and worldly affairs, should any sadness, anxiety, or stress about heavenly matters during his business affairs, if that happens, okay, we're not talking about, stress of work. Yeah, sometimes that gets to you, but we're talking about spiritual matters. That's the work of the Yetzer Hara. It's the trick of the Yetzer Hara. What's he going to do? He's making you sad. And then once you're sad, you're going to look for ways and means to get out of the sadness. So you might look for things that are forbidden, lustful things, forbidden things. It's man's nature to seek pleasure and not to remain depressed. If his feelings of spiritual failure distress him, then he's going to seek pleasure in physical gratification. And that's going to make him feel good, even though it's only temporary. But this is the work of the Yetzer Hara. She'im lo ikein me'ayin ba'atzvus amitis machmas avos Hashem oyirasei. That's be'emtza asakov. So the Alter Rebbe is saying, if this weren't so, that this depression is the doing of the Yetzer Hara, where else would this come from? Why suddenly in the middle of work and he gets a spiritual sadness that has nothing to do with his work stress related? So obviously it's the work of the Yetzer Hara. So since a genuine sadness is an expression of love and fear of Hashem, it should express itself at a time when the emotions are active, during davening, during study, during Torah study. If you're in the middle of davening and suddenly you burst out crying because you're thinking about Hashem, that's the place and time. But if it happens during work, that's not the time and place. Vine ben shenafla lo ha'atzvus b'shas avodah b'talmud Torah b'tefillah ben shenafla whether the sadness settles on him during davening or learning, or when he's not engaged in anything but work, okay, so maybe that's a better time. Now is not the time for genuine sadness or even for worry over grave sins. Chas v'shalom. Now's the time to work. And so where's it coming from? It's coming from the Yetzer Hara. b'yeshuva das, l'ispoinim migdos Hashem asher chat aloi. So when a person should set aside certain times, a cheshbon nefesh, late at night, before he goes to bed, before he says Shema, that's the time that he should think about the things that he needs to improve upon, the things maybe that he didn't do correctly, or he didn't think the right thoughts. Nishpar be'emes b'mrirus amitis kivimvar eis zu b'makem acher. This will allow his heart to be remorseful and bitter over the sins that he did, as opposed to depression. And that's a healthier approach, as explained elsewhere. Sham Nispar Gamken is explained immediately over there. Kim yada achar shenishpar liboy beitim kvuim ahem azay yasir ha'etzem miliba legamre. After his heart feels broken, during those appointed times, at that point, he gets beyond that. He moves past it. He's not sad anymore. He should believe that when he really means it with a sincere heart, Hashem will forgive him, and he should move forward. So even if a person continues to sin against Hashem, Hashem will forgive him as long as Hashem will forgive him just as if he sinned for the first time. Unlike man who easily forgives a first offense, but finds it difficult. That's what the Alter Rebbe was saying. Alter Rebbe was saying is, if somebody does something to a friend, he, whatever it is, he slights his friend, he upsets him. So the first time he does it, the friend says, I forgive you. But if he keeps doing it over and over and over again, after a while, the friend's like, no, I'm not falling for this anymore. You keep doing the same thing, and then you keep saying, "No, I'm sorry." Like, it's no big deal. I'm done. The Eibishter has a huge capacity, a limitless capacity, and he always says, "I forgive you," as if it's the first time you ever did that sin. And we have to be sincere about it. You can't just say, "Oh, when I get to Shemon Esrei for Mincha, I'm going to say Slach Lanu, so therefore I have free reign to do any sins I want between now and Mincha time, and then between Mincha Marav, and then from Marav to Shachris." Because each davening, I'm going to ask Hashem for forgiveness, and Hashem is all forgiving. No, that doesn't work like that. But if a person gets caught up where the Yetzer Hara got him, catches him by surprise, and he becomes sad, and he does something, and he relieves himself in some way that's inappropriate, but then he realizes, and he wakes up, and he jolts himself back, and he says, "What did I do?" And he spends a few moments before davening. Maybe there's a reason why the minyan didn't start exactly on time. It gives you a few moments to reflect before davening. You know what? I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have thought that. I shouldn't have said those words. It wasn't nice. But the Eibishter forgives somebody as long as he's being sincere. V'zuhi hasimcha amitis v'Hashem haba achar ha'etzev k'niska le'il. When a person realizes that Hashem forgives him, like a father would forgive a child, then it would give him such joy. He now is rid of the sins, and he's rid of the sadness that comes along with the sins. And now there's true joy, as explained above, and he can now serve Hashem the way he's supposed to, with joy and gladness of heart. The takeaway is the toolbox for success in divine service is that your spiritual standing, if it's dragging you down, do you feel like you should be better? This is the way to become better. Do not entertain these negative thoughts at this moment. There's a time and place for everything. And if you feel like there's something negative in your life, then wait till a certain time, set aside a certain time, focus on it, deal with it, then get rid of it and move on. Don't allow it to drag you down. If it's something that's mamish disturbing you during the day, it's very likely the work of the Yetzer Hara, of the evil inclination. So let's focus on the good, and let's always serve Hashem with joy and happiness. Have a good day.